What's good, everybody? I'm Keandre, this is Hoop Intellect, and welcome back to the channel. So the brackets were just released, and I thought we would go ahead and go through all the best NBA prospects in each region, some potential matchups, and also other random thoughts about the outcome of the tourney. Now, I don't have a full bracket that we'll go through just yet, but I will soon. And if you are interested in seeing that full bracket and going up against me, go ahead and hit that link in the description. It is the ESPN Tournament Challenge. This is not an ad or anything. That's just where I like to do my brackets. And the first place winner of the pool will be getting a gift card. But yeah, let's go ahead and get it started with the West region. Pulling up this bracket, in the West we have Gonzaga with the #1 overall seed. They have Georgia State in the first round. You guys obviously know a lot about this Gonzaga team at this point. A lot of talent led by Chet Holmgren, of course. The NBA draft matchup of the tournament could be Memphis versus Gonzaga in the second round if we do happen to get that, with Chet going up against Jalen Duren, which would be very interesting just considering the physical differences between the two and how polarizing Chet has become to a certain segment of people, but also on Memphis is going to have to hold up their end of the deal. Arkansas at the 4 seed could be interesting if they get to face Gonzaga in the Sweet 16, between Jalen Williams and Chet and JD Notae versus those guards. Rutgers and Notre Dame are in that first 4-11 seed game. You got Ron Harper Jr. versus Blake Wesley. I was actually surprised Rutgers made it, considering that they had so many bad losses, but they also had some great wins that kind of trumped everything else. And the winner of that play-in game goes up against Keon Ellis, JD Davis, and Javon Quinterly in Alabama. Duke is a 2 seed in this region, the team with the highest level NBA talent in the tournament. That might not result in wins or a deep run, but that is definitely a fact. And they have their hands full on that side of the region with teams like Texas Tech, potentially Michigan State, Davidson. Those are the main ones that are going to be really tough for them. So just to kind of reiterate an overview, the West region, we've got potential Gonzaga-Memphis second round matchup, Arkansas versus Gonzaga in the Sweet 16. Alabama-Notre Dame in the first round could happen if Notre Dame wins that play-in. Michigan State-Davidson is a first round matchup, 7-10 spot. Those always lend themselves to good prospect matchups for whatever reason. And also, those are usually some really, really solid college basketball teams. You have Davidson, who came up just short in the A-10 championship. Michigan State has had some ups and downs throughout the season, but they put together some really nice wins recently. Obviously, they have Max Christie, Marcus Bingham, Gabe Brown, and then Jaden Akins, future-wise. And then they have Youngjoon Lee on the other side for Davidson. And then for Duke, they could potentially play Michigan State in the second round, Texas Tech in the Sweet 16, and then a rematch with Gonzaga in the Elite Eight for a chance to go to the Final Four, which is one that I really want to see. Could have a lot of implications for the likes of Paolo and Chet at the top of the draft, and then you've also got the other wealth of talent in there. But I understand if you're a college basketball fan, you kind of want to see the upsets and don't want to see like these two staples of college basketball playing again. But from a basketball talent standpoint, it doesn't get much better than Duke and Gonzaga. So here is a list of the best NBA prospects in this region. We've got Chet, Paolo, AJ Griffin, Jalen Duren, Mark Williams, Blake Wesley, Trevor Keels, Jalen Williams, Wendell Moore, JD Davison, Max Christie, Youngjoon Lee. Those are the main guys for this draft that I think have the best chances of getting drafted this year. And then you've also got fringe guys for this year and also some potential future players. So that's pretty much what we've got for the West. Let's go ahead and talk about the South region, which is headlined by Arizona. There's not the greatest amount of 2022 NBA draft talent in this region, but Arizona does carry a lot of that with Ben Mathurin, Christian Koloko, Dalen Terry, among others. We do get a Kadari Richmond and Mike Miles matchup in round 1. That should be pretty fun. Those were two of my favorites in the preseason, if you do remember. I think there are a ton of potential upsets in this region. You look at Loyola Chicago, led by head coach Drew Valentine, brother of Denzel, of course. They're a really tough team, and Ohio State has been reeling lately, so that's going to be a popular upset pick. You look at Chattanooga over Illinois and UAB over Houston. Those are some ones that I'm really looking at as well. I think both those teams have the ingredients to make things tough for those higher seeds, and they could end up shaking up this side of the bracket. Colorado State versus Michigan is one of my favorite first-round games. You have David Roddy, a potential second-round pick, really dynamic forward/wing. He's a college star going up against Caleb Houston, Musa Diabate, Hunter Dickinson. they should be fun to watch once again. I was pretty surprised Michigan made it in at 17-14, but Big Ten, you can see the case there. Kennedy Chandler has the SEC champion Tennessee Volunteers at the 3 seed going up against Longwood. Now, I'm not going to sit up here and act like I know a whole bunch about Longwood, which is part of the reason I haven't put out my bracket yet, but Kennedy Chandler is always one to watch. And then Old Faithful Villanova is at the 2 seed over here in the South. They don't have too much NBA talent this year, but they're a pretty good college team. You know, they just narrowly avoided St. John's in the Big East title game. So talking about some of these best potential matchups, we have Ohio State and Villanova in the second round. E.J. Liddell, Malachi Branham going up against Jay Wright in that system, and also Colin Gillespie, Justin Moore, Brandon Slater. That could be a really good one. Also, Arizona versus TCU. Mike Miles' game really lends itself to the tournament. And if he can get hot, you know, he could be one of those guys that kind of steals the show and becomes one of the defining players of March Madness. Colorado State versus Michigan, first round, we talked about that one. Ohio State versus Tennessee in the Sweet 16 could be another potential matchup if things shake out that way. But other than that here, it's really just Arizona versus anyone that I'm really interested in watching NBA draft wise. A lot of potential upsets here. Things could get very weird on this side of the bracket. And here are the best NBA prospects in the South region. Ben Mathurin, Malachi Branham, E.J. Liddell, Kennedy Chandler, Christian Coloco, Caleb Houston, Moussa Diabate. And then we've got the fringes and futures. That's kind of a broad look at the South region. So going over to the Midwest, we have Kansas as the number 1 seed, led by Ochai Agbaji and Christian Braun. Now, Agbaji has a very good chance to cement what I think is his already lottery status, and Christian Braun, a beautiful opportunity to become a possible first-round pick. KU definitely has their eyes set on making a deep run, but there are some really tough potential matchups coming up for them. The 2 seed in the Midwest is Auburn, and their fate is going to be 100% determined by KD Johnson and Wendell Green. We know what Jabari Smith and Walker Kessler are bringing to the table as one of the best front courts in the country, but you can't have a performance like those guards did against Texas A&M. Now, Wendell redeemed himself in a big way in the second half, but KD definitely has to be better, and their decision making late in games is definitely going to be key as well. I've tweeted about it before, but they have to be able to get good shots and stay composed when things get going tough. Big Ten champions Iowa and Keegan Murray versus A-10 champs Richmond and Tyler Burton should be a fun one in round 1. If Iowa can learn to cut out these 5-minute stretches where Keegan Murray is barely involved, not even setting screens, then I think they can make a pretty deep run. But if not, I think it's gonna catch up to them at some point. Gotta use your star player, potentially the best player in college basketball, as much as possible. South Dakota State is one of my favorite Cinderella picks. I think Baylor Shireman is a sleeper NBA prospect, and freshman Zeke Mayo is a future one himself. He and my younger brother actually played on the same team together a couple summers ago, so I will be rooting for South Dakota State. LSU just lost their head coach, Will Wade, which is not good at all for anybody involved. We won't get into that entire situation, but I have no idea how that's going to affect this team. There's still a lot of talent, starting with potential lottery pick Tari Eason, and they should be in a pretty good game in round 1 against Iowa State, Tyrese Hunter and Isaiah Brockington. Now, Wisconsin has Colgate in round 1. Johnny Davis might be gassed, a little banged up, dealing with some injuries and just having to carry this team offensively all year. But he's still a top 10 guy for me and has the potential to really drive that home here. But I could also see them being on upset watch, just given how important he is to that team, and he can't go 3 for 19 again and then really expect to win in the NCAA tournament. USC and Miami is one of the better round 1 games. Again, that 7-10 matchup is always good every single year. You got Cam McGusty, Isaiah Wong, Charlie Moore versus Boogie Ellis, Drew Peterson, Isaiah Mobley. A lot of talented guys there. Some of those best potential matchups, we have Wisconsin and Johnny Davis versus LSU, Tari Eason and the rest of them, in the second round. Kansas versus Iowa in the Sweet 16, that would be a really good one. Kansas versus Auburn in the Elite 8, of course. And then also Iowa versus Auburn in the Elite 8 would be really good too. Jabari Smith versus Keegan Murray, I think we can all say we want to sign up for that one. The best NBA talent in this region, the Midwest, we've got Jabari Smith, Keegan Murray, Johnny Davis, Tari Eason, Ochai Agbaji, Walker Kessler, Christian Brown, Isaiah Mobley, and then the rest of the fringe and future guys. And finally, moving on to the East, we have Baylor as the #1 seed here. Like Auburn, their guards hold the keys to their success. I'm definitely not as confident in them as I was last year, but they do have a pretty good chance to get to at least the Elite 8. North Carolina versus Marquette is a pretty good 8-9 battle. You've got Caleb Love, you've got Justin Lewis, and also those are 2 Jordan Brand schools, so the kicks are going to be going crazy in that one. St. Mary's is a potential sleeper pick at the 5 seed. I mean, they are a 5 seed, so that's not really crazy, but it just feels like they won't get the recognition until they possibly pull off the Baylor upset. They are a very capable team. If you watch them at all, you've seen them beat Gonzaga, you know what they're capable of. UCLA has Johnny Juzang and Jaime Jaquez as potential second round guys. Peyton Watson could potentially do himself a favor if he's given the opportunity and has some solid stretches in the most important games, but who knows if he's going to see the floor. But in general, this tournament might be pretty tough for UCLA. I think if they want to capture some of that magic from last year, it's going to have to come from Johnny Juzang, and hopefully he's healthy enough to do it. Wyoming and Indiana are in that play-in 12 seed game. I think if Trace Jackson Davis can have another good game and potentially pull off the upset against St. Mary's, he will propel himself into real NBA conversations. He's right on the fringe right now, kind of borderline in that second round. But if he can put it together once again as he was playing at a really high level in the Big Ten tournament, he still has a lot of attributes that you like, and he is a very good athlete. Virginia Tech is one of the hottest teams out coming off of the ACC championship. I'm definitely picking them over Texas in round 1 in the 11-6 game. I know a lot of you probably are as well. Purdue is here as the 3 seed going up against Yale in the first round. They had a tough loss against Iowa in the Big Ten championship. I'm not a big fan of Big Ten teams in the tournament. They do have 9 of them this year. Jaden Ivey is going to be the key to their success, putting him in the right positions. And then, yeah, another beautiful 7-10 game is between Murray State and San Francisco. They've got 2 potential NBA guards in Tevin Brown on Murray State and Jamari Bouye with USF. And then the 2 seed is Kentucky, and they play St. Peter's in the first round. So some of those best potential matchups coming out of the East region, we have Baylor and Jeremy Sohan, Kendall Brown, Matthew Meyer versus Marquette and Justin Lewis. Purdue versus Kentucky in the Sweet 16 will be great. Get to see Ty Washington, their contrast in styles between him and Jaden Ivey. And also down low, we've got Travion Williams and Zach Edey versus Oscar Tshiebwe. That's one that I would really like to see. I like both of those teams making deep runs, but also the NBA implications there. Like we said, Murray State versus San Francisco should be a good one. And then Baylor versus Purdue or Kentucky in the Elite 8. That's a matchup that I want to see talent-wise again. And then the best and most important NBA talent here, we have Jaden Ivey, Jeremy Sohan, Ty Washington, Kendall Brown, Justin Lewis, Jaime Jaquez, Oscar Tshiebwe, and Travion Williams. And then we have the rest of the friends and future guys listed here as well. And then the team I trust the most and who will probably be my national championship pick is Arizona. I just think when you look at their roster, they have everything that you need. As long as Ben Mathurin comes to score and Kirk Kriisa is able to give them something, I think that they're in for a deep run, especially given their region and the matchups that they will have en route to the Elite 8 and Final 4. So yeah, they would be my pick to win the national championship right now. But that's going to do it for this one. I just wanted to talk about as many things as possible, kind of from a draft lens about this NCAA tournament. And yeah, if you guys are interested, be sure to go hit that link in the description, make your own bracket, go up against me, potentially win a prize for yourself if you get first place. As always, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like, subscribe if you are new, and comment down below some of your thoughts on everything that we talked about. I'm Keandre, this is Hoop Intellect, and I'm out.
O'Shea gon' be the first, so I'll forever be the second. Who rep Lamert Park is something you ain't got a question. They like, damn, grown up, better than we expect.
You can sit up on my show.